Welcome back to the 19th Fairway Show. We've got myself and Willie tonight, hopefully to be joined by Joe in time for picks. Garrett is out tonight, but we are here to discuss the recap of the 150th Open from St. Andrews, the old course. What a weekend it was, firm and fast conditions, lots to be talked about. I really want to point out right away, 5 straight birdies on the back nine to start the back nine for Cam Smith, and the eventual 6th birdie on that back to shoot a 30 to go on and win at St. Andrews. What a round from Cam Smith to steal that one from Rory Mcilroy, who shot 70 on Sunday. Did nothing wrong, bogey-free 70, but could not get it done. And Cam Smith, his putter was hot to seal the deal and get that major under his belt from St. Andrews, the historical 150th Open.
Yeah, that was exciting stuff. I mean, looked like the fairy tale was going to happen and Rory was going to take the Open at the old course, but he just couldn't make those putts on Sunday, and Cam Smith did make those putts on Sunday. And honestly, Cam, he hit the ball pretty good all tournament, but didn't make anything on Saturday. People always talk about how Cam's putter is like permanently hot, but this Saturday, I think he shot like 1 over or something, but he was still hitting a bunch of greens. I mean, he had that just moronic double bogey on, I think it was 13, where he tried to take the baseball swing out of the bunker, when even like us average amateur golfers know, like just hit it out to the side and take your medicine. But the putter did get hot on Sunday for Cam, and I think he shot a 30 on the back nine to win the Open. So that's pretty legendary stuff there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one that, I mean, we all recognized how great it was at the time, but as time goes on, we're going to look back on that and be like 30 on the back nine at St. Andrews, all the feet of putts that went in for him. I think the one that's going to be obvious forever is the road hole, putting from below the bunker, up and over, and draining the 10-footer for the par. That's one of the best up and downs in major championship history, I'd dare to say. And Cam got it done. He really led the way on Sunday. And I would say that while Cam's putter was maybe a bit cold on Saturday, Rory was just hot on Saturday, and they flip-flopped. They switched places for Sunday. Rory's just couldn't make anything. There was a highlight the PGA Tour Instagram posted, and I think there was 5 putts that came within an inch of the hole. And I mean, an inch to the left, an inch more. So, I think on 12, it came up just an inch short. So there's 5 putts that had the chance to drop within an inch, and that could have been the difference for sure. Obviously, he tried really hard to make the eagle on 18 to force the playoff. Could have made birdie there, and that's only 1 stroke behind, but there's no sense in making birdie to get yourself to 19 under when the lead was in the clubhouse at 20. So really great final round. I was definitely pulling for Rory, but Cam Smith, an exciting young player in his 20s, and that makes 4 players in their 20s winning major championships this year. If that doesn't tell you that the PGA Tour is in good hands, I don't know what does. Maybe there's one of those 4 players that heads over to the Live. We don't know. But for now, 4 under 30 players winning major championships in 2022. Awesome stuff for the young guys.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, obviously, I don't even think Rory had a bogey in the final round. So like you said, didn't do anything wrong. Just some interesting shots, like number 9. I mean, number 9's drivable par 4 is pretty much a par 3.5, honestly, maybe even like a par 3. But Rory couldn't make birdie on that. I think he missed like a 6-7 foot birdie putt when he was on the green. Did he 3-putt that hole for par? So just couldn't capitalize there. And then 12, super easy hole. It's weird. Cam Smith, like, who's longer with the driver, Cam Smith or Rory? Obviously Rory. Rory's one of the best drivers in the game. Cam Smith drives it up to the edge of 12 and to the edge of 18, and Rory didn't either. So it looks like it could be like a ball flight thing. Maybe Cam was just driving it in low and Rory had a little more air under it and just hit the wrong mound in the fairway and didn't get it up to the edge of the green. But you think if Cam Smith is driving it to the edge on 18, that Rory is easily driving it onto the green on 18. So a little weird there. Maybe Rory could have played some different shots. Maybe he just wasn't quite aggressive enough, a little too conservative of a game plan. But still, back 9, 30, final round 64 on Sunday to win the Open. So it's hard to really fault Roy with anything, and all the credit goes to Cam.
Yeah, coming from 4 back, shooting a 64 is what you're hoping to do, and he did. And it's a little surprising that Rory didn't get into the 60s. There was something about maybe that being the first round in the 70s he shot in the Open in a long time, all in the 60s besides 180 he had. So first round in the 70s in a while at the Open. And then what you were saying about driving greens, Cam took the aggressive route on 18 for sure. I mean, he went up that right side and was able to get that good angle to have that 3-foot birdie putt by just knocking it close with his eagle attempt. But Rory went left and had to go over the Valley of Sin with that chip. Not an easy route there for sure. And you wonder if maybe he should have gone with that more aggressive down the right side line. And then you look at in the group ahead of him too, playing with Cam Smith was Cam Young, who drove the green. And you would think, okay, well, if Cam Young just drove the green and knocked it in for eagle, then here's a good chance for Rory to do the same.
Exactly.
But just didn't happen. And, you know, that's definitely going to tug at him. But what we did learn about Rory is that he's more than capable. He shot, you know, a 70 in the final round, which hurts. But all 4 majors this year were top 10s. He was a second at the Masters. He had the 5th place at the U.S. Open, a 3rd place at the PGA Championship, or no, 8th place at the PGA Championship, and the 3rd place at the British Open. So all top 10s for Rory. His game is definitely back to where it should be for, you know, kind of the golden boy on the PGA Tour right now. He's sort of the face, him, Justin Thomas, maybe Jordan Spieth. Of course, you got Scotty Scheffler, the number 1 in the world. I think Cam just moved to number 2. Lots surrounding Cam on his PGA Tour future, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Either way, a lot of good young players, and Rory should still be considered young. I think he's 31, 32 years old, and plenty of good golf left in his bag. And excited to see what the next year brings. I think from now on, with no Ryder Cup this year, he's going to be focused on Augusta. He's going to be gunning for that green jacket to complete the career Grand Slam. I think he definitely wants to add a few more majors to his resume before he's done, sitting at 4 right now that he got from 2011 to 2014. It's been 8 full years since he's had one now, and he's definitely looking to add a few more to his collection.
Yeah. And on the Rory front, 2 questions for you. One, easy question. Do you think he should have putted that second shot versus chipping it? And 2, do we need to look at the Rory situation as, hey, he performed great in all the 4 majors, he was top 10, or do we need to look at it as, hey, you had a chance at all 4, you were super close and you couldn't pull through, and it's a disappointment? So I'll leave you with those 2 questions.
Well, those are good questions. And for the first, I guess as an amateur, you would say, yeah, putt it. It's going to give you a better chance to get close. I think he was thinking just get it over the Valley of Sin and hopefully it hits the flagstick and drops in, because that sure looks what he was trying to do based on how far he hit it by. But we saw in 95, the year that John Daly won in that playoff against the Italian. I believe his name was Rocca. I could be totally player in that one, but Rocca, or the Italian, if I'm missing his name, he did chip into the Valley of Sin and then make that long putt for birdie to go into the playoffs. So, you know, you can get a putt in the cup through the Valley of Sin. We know that. And I do think maybe Rory should have played the putt just to give it a real chance of dropping. You know, that's kind of at that point, what else do you have? You have to make it, try to give yourself the best chance. He clearly thought that the chip was his best chance though. And I think a lot of pros do. You know, I would guarantee that Jordan Spieth would be chipping that ball if it was him. And that's just kind of the caliber of the tour pros these days. With a wedge in their hand, they fully trust their ability to make it with a wedge. But you and I sit here and think putt that all day. And that's just the difference between pros. It's also the same kind of idea of going forward in 2 every time. Just because they can reach it, the higher percentage plays around the green for them than 100 in. So I get that, and I get why he chose the wedge there. But ultimately, he did not make it. He blew it 18 or 20 feet by, whatever it was, and missed the birdie putt, ended with a par to sit in 3rd place. And I really don't think a 3rd place or a 2nd place mattered to him at that point. On to the second question. I think just the fact that he did finish all 4 majors in the top 10 kind of proves that he's right there. There's been majors passed over the last 8 years, obviously, where he's given himself a chance on Sunday, but ultimately been too short because he didn't get off to a good start. And that's kind of been the conversation around Rory in majors, is that he wasn't getting himself off to a good start, especially in the Masters. If he could start better, he would have a chance. And that conversation really became apparent to me at the PGA Championship, where he did start with did he have the solo lead after round 1 at like -5 or -6 at Southern Hills? He was either tied for the lead or had the solo lead, I believe, after round 1. If not, he was within 1 stroke, that's for sure. But he got off to a hot start. That conversation came around. And then at the US Open, can't exactly remember his first round, but it must have been somewhat decent. And he was around on the weekend. So yeah, I think it's just a hurdle. That hot start, getting good position after the first couple of rounds is an important thing for him. So he's got to continue to do that. And now it's about closing, because we've seen his closing speed, if you will, in the past few years, where he's able to get close to that finish line, but didn't have the right start. And now he's getting the right start, and he's around on Sunday. I mean, he's been in contention, you could say, for all 4 of the majors this year with all top 10 finishes. But I think he's tinkering a few of the right things and coming to a spot in his game where he is going to start winning a little bit more. And I fully expect a major to go under his belt in 2023. I think he fully expects that. And that's kind of major or bust at this point for Rory.
Yeah. And that actually brings up, I'll ask you another question in regards to Rory. So do you think he's taking a season like this, where he's top 10 in all majors, has a chance, has at least 1, maybe 2 victories this year, or 2012, where he won the PGA Championship, was T60 at the Open, cut from the US Open, and T40 at the Masters? Do you think he's taking top 10 in all 4, or just riding that PGA Championship win and then not even coming close in the others?
I wonder how many other wins he had in 2012. He did have 2 this year with the CJ Cup in that fall season, and then he won the Canadian Open a few weeks before, or the week before the US Open. So it was a fairly recent victory, about 5 weeks 5 weeks before the Open, playing really good golf, coming in and gave himself a chance. I mean, realistically, he should have won that thing at the Open. And that's probably the most likely scenario this year. I think at the Masters this year, he made an incredible run. I think he shot 64 on Sunday at Augusta and ended up in second place, but really wasn't in the running for the title. At the Open, he was. I mean, he was expected to win on Sunday, being tied with Hovland and 4 shots clear of the rest of the field. You would have fully thought that was Rory's to lose, and it was. But that brings me to the question of how many wins did he have in 2012? Because I think almost anybody would take a major victory in a season over not. Yeah. That probably means he would choose that season. But, here or there, that was 10 years ago. And here he is at 32 years old with 4 top 10s in the majors, knowing he's close, knowing he let one slip away at the Open. I think that's got to give him confidence going forward that he can do this and he can get another major very soon.
Yeah. And I'm just talking, I think in 2012, Rory literally won like multiple playoff events and maybe the FedEx Cup too. So from like a season long standpoint, definitely, but just in terms of majors, I think it's an interesting question.
Welcome, Mr. Joe. We're just talking about what would Rory take, the 2012 season where he won the PGA Championship, but was like missed cut 60th and 44th, I think he said, in the other 3 majors, or this season where he didn't win a major championship, but he was top 10 in all 4 of them with 2 wins.
That's an interesting one. I think you got to take a major championship win whenever you can get them. They're so few and far between.
Yeah.
I think so. I think anyone would. It's just, I was saying the difference is 10 years, and now here he is, kind of gone through a lull, and still is. He didn't win one, but he's got 4 top 10s this year, and that's got to give him some confidence going forward.
I got to think so. Yeah. Interesting question. Good one.
But while you're here, you had the money pick last week in the third round with Cam Smith. Let's talk a little bit about Cam.
Dude, Cam, yeah, he scared me on Saturday, but I love, dude. It was one of the first times that I picked a player due to the courses that he's grew up playing. Like he grew up playing in Australia. It's so known that all the Australians are known for playing those incredibly firm and fast. Oh, what's up, dude? Those firm and fast fairways and greens, and um, I was shocked at his putting. I knew his wedge game was, top 10 on tour, but his putting was just unconscious. Just you deserve to win when you putt like that. And yeah, I was really happy. I'm a big fan of the Aussies, and they came through for me.
Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about the putting a little bit. 18 was the 3-footer for birdie, no doubt. I mean, it's still a tournament on the line pretty much, but easy little 3-footer for him when he's making the rest of the putts that he did.
Dude, 17 I think was the biggest.
I was going to get to that. So the first 5 birdies on the back 9, 10 through 14. 14, you got to expect a birdie, but still, when you're coming off 4 in a row, awesome to make it. And then, he made a bunch of really great putts, 10 through 13. But 17 has got to feel like a birdie. But more than that, that's the tournament. I mean, that's like the biggest putt of all time for him right there. And he just drills it with ease, rolled right in the front edge, dead center with the perfect pace. No problem. That guy was on fire putting.
Yeah, and it's crazy to look back on it too. So say he misses that putt, then he goes into 18 tied with, or not, down up 1 to Cameron Young, and Cameron Young makes eagle, and he would have had to hit that 3-footer was money, but like he would have had to make that, with a little bit more pressure. And that putt on 17 when he was putting off the green to get to the 10-footer that he had was so crazy when you give him the view of down the line what he was looking at. He pretty much had to die it over the hill, and if he doesn't die it over the hill, it comes back into the trap. But if he gets it too much pace, it's just gonna cruise out off the
almost
green.
Onto the road.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my, I gotta think if you asked him truthfully, he for a second was nervous that putt was not going to get over. It did not look like it. He hit it hard.
He hit it perfect, and it ended up in the right spot for him to have a comfy 10-footer. I mean, how bad do I wish 10-footers were that comfy? But I saw a clip of Rory having that same putt from in front of the road hole bunker in 2014, or it must have been, or no, it was the Dunhill. So it was 2014 at the Dunhill Links, which is set up like a Pro-Am compared to the Open. But he had that same putt and he fell into the bunker with that. So, I mean, that was Rory more at his peak in 2014, and he still did that. Yeah, I just can't believe the balls on Cam Smith to be able to pull that off. Everything he did on Sunday was perfect. I mean, that's just what happened. 64 around there was that the low round of the week too? Tie for the low round of the week, -8? I think so.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Cam Young went -8 first day, right?
Thursday, and that was it. No one shot 63 around there. So yeah, ties for the low round of the week on Sunday to win versus the guy who shot -8 on Thursday. So
that's a
Cam
good
Smith.
point, Joe. What's
that?
If he doesn't get up and down on 17, and assuming Rory birdies 18 because he doesn't have to hold a chip, we're looking at like a 3-man playoff between the Cams and Rory.
It was beautiful. I was so happy with that was one of the first majors that it was like, okay, anyone can really get this. We were texting in the group chat holy shit, this is getting so good.
This is good stuff.
It was wild. There's so many different narratives that could happen, and one of the narratives was Cam Young eagling 18, and he did.
Yeah.
He was able to do it.
That was whoa, he battled. He really battled. He's a super impressive rookie. He's a rookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow.
Lots of new caddy on the bag that week. He used to have his friend or teammate from Wake Forest or something. And now he got some like experienced caddy who's been on the bag for other like ballers. And he went off. I mean, dude, he's ball striker extraordinaire. It just comes down to the putter for him.
It's so interesting to watch his swing, and like he is a ball striker extraordinaire, and same with Zally, and they both have the like really high, like no wrist bend. They just like stick the club straight up and just
Yeah.
bring it down.
Yeah. And like take their elbows away from their body and like,
yeah,
I know exactly what
it's
you're
like there's
talking about.
no wrist hinge at all at the top. It's just straight like mechanical arm. Just yeah, it's crazy. It's awesome to see. It almost makes me want to try something like that just because they're like the most elite like ball strikers.
Thinking about the narratives on Sunday and what could have happened, it also bleeds into the player of the year and the rookie of the year. I mean, Cam Young's got to be high on that list for rookie of the year. I think Davis Riley is a rookie that forced a playoff. Did he get a win yet this year, or did he just forced a playoff at the Valspar?
None of them have gotten a win, right?
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if any of the rookies have a win this year. But the player of the year, obviously Cam Smith just boosts himself right into the conversation with that one. I mean, he's got the Players, the Open, and he won the Tournament of Champions. So really 3 stacked field tournaments that he's got. Not to say that Scheffler's all 4 of those aren't stacked, and he's got a WGC and the Masters plus the Bay Hill Invitational Arnold Palmer tournament and the Waste Management. So the Waste Management out of all the tournaments we just named is probably the weakest field, but it's still a pretty good field and a very fun electric tournament.
Yeah, that's so tough because you think Tournament of Champions is, always a stacked field with all the past winners. So that's up there. I think that outweighs Waste Management. Maybe. I think it does. That's up for debate. But the Players is the 5th major, so that pretty much counts as like a major. And then you have, a major championship win. That is just, but then it's 4, it's 4 against 3, and one of them being the Masters.
He's got the Masters. He also has the WGC, which is top 50 players in the world right there.
Yeah, that's match play, right?
64. So yeah, and he played,
Austin.
that's the most amount of holes that they play all year in one weekend. So definitely not an easy one to win by any means.
I think any other year, like you're taking the green jacket, but just the fact that it was at the old course, like 150th Open, that like adds a little more weight. At least like the players said it themselves, like it just felt different. Like they thought it added a little more weight at being at the old course. But it's still tough to pass up the green jacket. So I don't know. I think I'm probably still going with Scotty. He's number 1 in the world. Cam's number 2. But damn, Players, Tournament of Champions, and an Open win at the old course. Like it's a coin flip.
Yeah, I think, one thing that maybe we haven't thought about, which will make it just an outright easy, winner. If Cam Smith goes to Live, there's no way in hell that he's getting a PGA award. It's the PGA Player of the Year, right? It's like not like it's not a different governing body. It's like PGA Tour. And so if Cam goes to Live, and it's just Scotty's the guy.
Definitely.
Will Dog has a great idea of what might be the case for Cam Smith, and I want him to fill us in on that. But before when the Player of the Year happens, that's still after the FedEx Cup playoffs. And I think, if Cam Smith stays, then we're going to have the playoffs, and those are going to be some big events to decide maybe, who does better between Scheffler or Smith to see who's going to be that Player of the Year. But Willie, what are your thoughts on the Cam Smith to Live situation as we kind of transition into the Live Tour?
Yeah. So I have heard Jamie Weir on a few podcasts, and he's a golf reporter, and he said the talk on the grounds at the Open was that Leash, Adam Scott, and Cam Smith will all jump to Live after the President's Cup is over, which is obviously after the FedEx Cup is over. So the thought is, and Hideki being looped in with this, they're all having such good years. They're going to finish top 10 FedEx, maybe even higher. They'll take those FedEx Cup payouts, play in the President's Cup, and then start on live after that. But obviously everything's alleged. There's these rumors are fluid, and I'm sure all the meetings and talks between all the representatives are fluid too. So you don't know if Cam Smith might change his mind now that he's gotten open and he's looking at that claret jug with Tiger and Jack and Arnie and all the other names on it, and he wants more of that, or if he wants to go to live and potentially, who knows, not be able to play on those anymore. So early in the process, it's hard to know what's going to happen with all these live guys in the majors. But those are the rumors that are being floated around right now, and we'll see how it plays out.
I'm really hoping for a merger.
Yeah, something's got to be done.
merger.
All the best players have to play in the same spot. That's all that matters.
Yeah, a merger. I don't know. I'm with you, D. I would love to see that. You have to give me the majors. Like, you have to let the best players in the world like play in the majors. Just like that has to be the case. Like, so therefore, if you're able to number the best players in the world, I mean, you have to give them world golf rankings.
Yeah. And if their fields get strong enough, but it's weird. Like it's like world golf ranking has all these specific criteria, right? Like
Like
it
a year
needs to be a
long
cut event. It needs to be 4 days, like 72 holes. So the fact that live has no cut events in their 54 hole events, I don't know how that's going to work.
And they have to be around for a whole year to like establish something.
Yeah, you need like a trial period or something like that.
Yeah.
But
so that won't even come for a minute.
Yeah, so there's like all these theories that the live guys might play on the Asian tour because they do offer world golf ranking points, but then their whole thing about playing less events, like you're gonna go send me to some random places in Asia to play these events, like that's obviously not what they're looking for. So the world golf ranking confirmed, they got the application, it's under review. So we'll see what happens. Based off the criteria they have set in place. It doesn't seem like the live events meet it, but they obviously could be altered. And get enough of the top players in one spot, I think the world golf ranking got to consider it for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, what a time. We were texting about it in the group chat.
Gonna make for a fun off season, and I think it's good for the game to have the drama, to have a little bit extra media to talk about and keep the season alive. But also in 2023, the PGA is going to put in that October kind of extra tournaments for the more cash for the top 50 players. That will be fun next year as well. But we do have a timeline here, and we got to get these picks in for the 3M Open. We're going 3 each this week. We've got a tight little race now at the top. Joe with some big points in the Open, climbing up to 80.5. So we've got D at 87, Joe at 80.5, G at 68, and Willie right behind him at 66.5. G has the first pick this week, and he has elected to go with his boy Hideki Matsuyama. And a little bit of a smaller field at the 3M, but pretty solid pick. Hopefully Hideki gets some of those FedEx Cup points we were talking about.
Nice.
No doubt.
Nice. Second pick, gonna take a rookie, Davis Riley. Been riding him in top 20 bets all year. He's tailed off a little bit, but still sticking with him to close the season strong.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with
him, but I knew he was gonna go off the table to you, Willie.
Yeah, that is a Willie pick. He's picked him a couple times this year now, hasn't he?
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Big Tone. One of the bigger names in this event. He is the odds-on favorite at plus 1,300. So yeah, not much to that pick, but I'm a Big Tone fan and hoping he can get a win this week.
Heck yeah, you guys can see me still, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Dude, I've been wanting to pick this guy for the longest time, and since I've been wanting to do that, I'm going number 1 overall pick with him. I'm gonna butcher his first name, Sahith Theegala.
Yeah.
All right.
He's been drilling. He's secret. He's always cruising around the top.
Yeah, he's a beast. He should have won.
I probably would have.
He should have won that Waste Management
for sure.
And the Travelers.
Yeah, straight up. He doubled
probably would have picked him
or something.
Yeah, he did. Lose. Didn't even get into the playoff with that.
Tough.
G is going to go with the summer of Svensson. He's 7 for 7 since the Nelson with top 25s in his last 4 starts, the last solo 6th at Keen Trace, and a T15 in his only prior trip to the 3M in 2019. So Adam Svensson for Mr. G.
Yeah, like G even knows who that is. Yeah, right. All right. I'm gonna take a guy. I was out at the Barracuda up in Truckee, Lake Tahoe area last weekend. Followed this guy a bunch. Just was hitting absolute bombs in the altitude. One of Joe's fellow countrymen from down under. Taking Cam Davis. Just hoping he finishes the season strong, climb up that FedEx Cup ranking. I think he's going to play a bunch of weeks in a row and play well.
Man,
Cam
that's
Davis,
shocking.
Davis Riley.
I wanted him.
I think I'm going to go north of the border with this pick. He's got a 4th place and a T6 in 2 of his last trips. Or no, he's only played in 2 there. So 2 top 10s at the 3M. I'm going to go with Hadwin.
Nice. Yep. I'm going with a guy who got his first PGA Tour win. I believe it was his first. It's at the John Deere, sort of one of these smaller events, lesser field, but obviously his game is in shape. Going JT Poston, another guy who can really roll the rock.
JT
Postman. That is going to bring G's pick to Captain Maverick McNeely. Top Gun Summer, Maverick McNeely, looking for a good finish here. He's had some good starts recently and was T2 entering the final round last year. Ended up settling for a T16 with the 73 on Sunday. That's a little harsh, but Mav McNeely, Stanford, California kid, why not, G?
Yeah, he was also at the CUDA. He was striping. I get worried about the guys going from altitude to sea level, but I mean, these guys are pros. They'll figure it out.
They got TrackMan too, so they're just like, doesn't even matter.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take a guy who actually just got special temporary membership on the PGA Tour. It's not very often someone gets handed that. I could have sworn when he was playing at the Open, or maybe when he was playing at the Renaissance Club for the Scottish Open, that he like had a different first name, but Ju-Young Kim.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, wasn't he going by like? Hadn't he like chosen like an American first name when he was at the Scottish? I thought it was like Tom or something.
Oh gosh, I hope not. That's a terrible like mistake to just get caught changing your first name. But I mean, it's understandable.
No. Like they do it all the time because of pronunciation. But I could have sworn I was watching the Scottish and he was drilling, and didn't he almost win?
Joe, I thought you were saying it'd be a terrible mistake to go by the name of Tom. I just don't know anyone who would want that name.
For sure that too, but to get caught changing your name from John to your real name and it being Ju-Young, like you can't, like that's just like, bro, you gotta at least give me something relative.
Shout out Tom, if you made it this far, we appreciate it.
He finished like T4 at the Scottish Open.
Good for it, dude. He did R at the Open too, didn't he?
Yeah, that's how he got his like special temporary membership or whatever.
Oh man.
In the essence of
Kim also goes by the name Tom. The reason for this is because of Thomas the Tank Engine.